Okay, let's unpack this. Instagram. It's this incredible space for connection and creativity, but honestly, trying to figure out how to grow, how to get your content seen with the ever-shifting algorithm and audience trends, it can feel like you're just guessing in the dark.
It really can. It's overwhelming sometimes.
And a lot of us are looking for ways to cut through the noise, build credibility, boost our presence online. You've shared some sources that touch on this challenge, exploring different strategies and tools people use.
Right. There's a lot out there.
You might see people talking about external services to boost social profiles, maybe checking out a site like rapidboost.net as one approach people explore. But for this deep dive, we're focusing our energy on something powerful that Instagram puts right in your hands.
That's right. Instead of looking outward for quick fixes, the source material really zeroes in on leveraging the platform's own built-in data to understand what's happening.
Exactly. Our mission today is to go deep into the source material you've given us and explore Instagram insights. How do we move beyond just glancing at numbers and actually use this tool for smart strategic growth?
Like making the data work for you.
Yeah, this is your shortcut to understanding which data points truly matter and how to translate them into actionable steps that work for your unique goals on Instagram.
So let's start at the beginning. Why should someone even bother with insights? Isn't just posting good content enough? I mean, isn't that the core thing?
That's a great question, and the source is clear. Just posting isn't enough if you want sustainable growth. Likes and follower counts, those can be useful, but they're often just vanity metrics.
Right. They look nice on the surface.
Exactly. They look nice, but they don't necessarily tell you if you're reaching the right people or if your content is actually having an impact. It's kind of superficial.
And the key here is that insights go so much deeper. It gives you the context, not just that something happened, but who saw it, how they interacted, and crucially, what they did next.
Precisely. It's a wealth of information. Details about who your audience actually is, a breakdown of how individual posts, reels, stories, lives are performing,
How people are finding you.
and what actions they take after
Yeah.
seeing your stuff.
When you understand this data, you can stop guessing. You can pinpoint exactly what content resonates most with your audience, understand their behavior patterns, optimize your posting times and formats.
And ultimately build a strategy that drives tangible results, not just those surface-level numbers.
Yeah, real results.
The source shared a compelling example of this. At Jess Wanders, a travel photographer. She didn't increase how often she posted, but after she started using insights strategically,
What happened?
she tripled her saved posts in just 3 months. Tripled.
Wow, safe posts specifically.
Yes. And that data-driven shift helped her outpace competitors and land significant brand partnerships. It shows the power of focusing on what truly drives value for the audience and, well, the algorithm.
That story perfectly illustrates how focusing on deep engagement metrics like saves and shares, which Insights reveals, can be far more impactful than just, chasing likes.
Okay, ready to get hands-on. The source quickly covers the fundamentals of accessing insights. First thing, you need a business or creator account.
Right. You can't get this level of detail with a standard personal profile. It's a must-have.
So from your profile, you just tap the menu, those 3 little horizontal lines, usually in the corner, and select Insights. It's pretty straightforward once you know where to look.
Once you're in, the data is organized into a few key areas, which the source breaks down nicely. There's the Overview tab first.
Think of the overview as your dashboard summary. It gives you the high-level view over a selected time period, total accounts reached, accounts engaged, and your total follower count. It's like a quick pulse check on overall performance.
Right, the big picture. Then you have content you shared. This is where you really dig into the performance of everything you've actually published: posts, reels, stories, even live videos.
This tab shows you metrics for each individual piece of content. You can see which ones reach the most people, which got the most interactions, and crucially, which ones are being saved and shared the most.
Which, as we just heard, can be really important signals.
Absolutely. And finally, the Your Audience tab. This is, I think, invaluable for understanding who you're actually reaching.
Gold mine, really.
Totally. It tells you about their demographics, age ranges, gender breakdown, top locations like cities and countries. It also shows you when your audience is most active on the platform, down to the hour and the day.
Super useful for planning. The source also includes a helpful pro tip. You can often tap on specific metrics within any post or reels detailed view to get even more granular analytics. Don't just look at the summary.
Oh, good point. Drill down.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can adjust the date range. Look at the last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. That lets you see trends over different periods, which is essential for tracking growth or seeing how maybe seasonality affects your performance.
Okay, so you're in Insights, you see all these numbers swirling around. Where do you even start? Which metrics are the most important ones to track for, like actual growth?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the source guides us toward focusing on metrics that indicate real impact, not just fleeting attention. Two fundamental ones to start with are reach and impressions.
I mean, how are those different again? I always get them slightly mixed up.
It's common. So, reach is the number of unique accounts who saw your content. Think individual people. Impressions are the total number of times your content was seen, including multiple views by the same person.
Ah, okay. Unique versus total views.
Exactly. And here's a key insight. If your impressions are significantly higher than your reach, it tells you your content is being seen multiple times by the same people. That's usually a good sign.
Why is that?
It means your content is compelling enough for them to maybe watch it again, or it's showing up in their feed multiple times, which means the algorithm thinks it's relevant to them. It suggests the content has staying power.
Got it. So high impressions relative to reach is a positive signal. What about engagement rate? We hear that term a lot.
Right. The source defines engagement rate as the total number of interactions. So that's likes, comments, saves, shares divided by your follower count, or sometimes people use reach, and then multiplied by 100 to get a percentage.
Okay, so interactions per follower, basically.
Pretty much. It's a really useful metric for comparing the relative performance of different posts or content types, regardless of your total follower count. It helps you see what percentage of your audience is actually interacting with what you share, puts things in perspective.
Now, the source really highlights saves and shares as being particularly important. Why is that? More than likes.
This is key, yeah. The source notes that the Instagram algorithm seems to weigh saves and shares more heavily than metrics like likes or even comments.
Interesting. Why?
Well, think about it. When someone saves your post, it signals to Instagram that your content is valuable enough to be referenced later. It has utility. When they share it, it shows it's worth passing on to others, like a recommendation.
So it shows deeper engagement, real value.
Exactly. Both actions demonstrate a deeper level of engagement and perceived value than just a quick double tap like.
That makes total sense. The example from the source about Aroxylift, the fitness creator focusing on carousel infographics, because her insights showed they got 300% more saves than her single images.
Yeah, that was a great example.
It really drove this home. She
Yeah.
saw the data, saw those saves piling up, and doubled down on what was clearly working for her audience.
Exactly. And that led directly to sustained growth and better brand partnerships for her. It wasn't just a vanity number. It had a real impact on her business.
Okay, what about profile visits and website clicks? Where do they fit in?
Think of these as your conversion metrics within Instagram. They tell you if your content is successfully driving people off the feed and towards your profile, or even better, your link in bio.
So, taking the next step.
Precisely. Tracking which specific pieces of content lead to the most profile visits or website clicks is crucial for understanding what motivates your audience to take that further action, what makes them curious enough to learn more.
Makes sense. And finally, follower growth. Obviously important, but how should we look at it?
Yeah, don't just look at the overall number going up or down, though that's part of it. Use insights to track the spikes and the dips over time.
Connected to specific content.
Yes. What content did you post right before a big jump in followers? Was there a specific reel that went viral or an event you covered? Conversely, did a certain type of content, maybe something controversial or off-brand, coincide with the dip?
Ah, so analyzing those trends helps you understand the why behind the changes in your audience size.
Exactly. It connects the dots between your actions and audience growth or churn.
Okay, so beyond just tracking the numbers, understanding who your audience actually is seems absolutely fundamental to creating content that resonates. You can't just talk into the void.
It really is. You need to know who you're talking to. Insights gives you detailed demographics, age, gender, and top locations, cities, and countries.
The source uses that really relatable example of a small Berlin-based coffee brand.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Their insights showed their audience was surprisingly concentrated in New York and São Paulo, not Berlin.
Wow, that data completely changes who you thought you were talking to, right? It forces you to ask, am I reaching my intended target audience? And if not, how might you need to adjust your content, your messaging, or even your targeting strategy?
Huge implications.
Absolutely. And then there are peak activity times. This data is pure gold for timing your posts effectively.
Right. Insights shows you those heat maps detailing when your followers are most active online, hour by hour, day by day. The source mentions 6 p.m. on Wednesdays as a common peak time for many audiences.
If you know when most of your audience is actually scrolling through Instagram, scheduling your content around those times significantly increases the likelihood of them seeing it right after you post.
Which boosts that initial engagement.
Exactly, which can then help the algorithm show it to more people. It's about maximizing visibility when people are actually there.
And the source also talks about tracking something called funnel progression. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, this is interesting. Insights allows you to sort of see the journey a user takes after encountering your content. For example, they might see a reel first.
Okay.
Then maybe they tap through to visit your profile, then perhaps they decide to follow you, or maybe they click the link in your bio, or even send you a direct message.
So like tracking the little steps they take towards a deeper connection or maybe even a conversion?
Exactly. The source calls them micro-conversions, and they're powerful indicators. If lots of people see your reel but very few visit your profile afterwards, maybe your reel's call to action to visit your profile isn't clear or compelling enough.
Or if they visit the profile but don't click the link.
Then perhaps your bio itself or the offer in your link needs optimizing. It helps you spot where people are dropping off in that journey from discovery to action. It reveals gaps.
That's really useful. It seems like comparing performance across different content types is also a key part of using insights effectively, not just looking at individual posts.
It absolutely is. You need to see what kind of content works. You can compare the performance of Reels versus static image posts versus carousels versus stories versus lives.
And they often perform differently, right?
Totally. The source points out that while Reels might be great for broad reach right now, especially for discovery,
Yeah, everyone's talking about Reels reach.
but carousels often drive higher saves because people use them for step-by-step guides, information dumps, or multi-image stories. And stories are excellent for quick interactions like polls, quizzes, Q&As.
So it's about understanding which format best serves a specific objective you have, like reach versus saves versus interaction.
Yes, precisely. Using the data to choose the right format for your goal, rather than just sticking to what you maybe prefer making or what you think works best. Insights helps you see what your specific audience responds to in each format.
You can also easily identify your top performing content within Insights, right? Like
Yeah.
find the winners.
Absolutely. That's one of the most straightforward uses. You can sort your content by various metrics: reach, engagement rate, comments, saves, shares, whatever matters most to you.
And that quickly highlights your breakout hits.
Exactly. But the key then is to analyze why they perform so well. Don't just admire them. Was it the topic, the visual style, the format, the caption, the call to action? Look for patterns in your winners so you can replicate that success.
And I saw the source mentioned you can even track caption and hashtag effectiveness too. How does that work?
Yeah, it's about correlation, mostly. You can track if changes you make, like writing longer captions versus shorter ones, or using different sets of header tags, maybe niche ones versus broad ones, seem to impact the performance metrics over time.
So experimenting and watching the data.
Right. It helps you see which approaches might be leading to better organic discovery or more engagement for your content. It allows you to test hypotheses about what caption style or hashtag strategy resonates most with your audience and the algorithm.
Okay, so we understand the data, we know where to find it in Insights, and which metrics generally matter most. The final and arguably most important step is actually taking action based on those insights. How does the source suggest we translate this data into a strategic plan?
This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Turning data into actual strategy. The source provides several concrete steps. First, they suggest you refine your content pillars.
Meaning identifying maybe the 3 to 5 core topics or themes you'll focus on based on what your audience is clearly responding to most in your top performing content.
Exactly that. Let the data guide you. If educational how-to posts consistently get the most saves, maybe that should be a pillar. If behind-the-scenes glimpses drive comments, lean into that. Build your strategy around those proven themes that resonate.
Makes sense. Next, optimize posting times. We touched on this.
Use those peak activity heat maps from the Audience tab. Don't just post whenever you feel like it. Test posting your content when your audience is most likely to be online.
The source even suggested testing posting a bit before the peak.
Yeah, like 30 to 60 minutes before to see if that catches people as they're just starting to scroll. It's worth experimenting with timing relative to those peaks.
And we should double down on winning formats. Sounds logical.
Yes. If Insights clearly shows that, for your audience, Reels consistently drive the most reach, you should probably dedicate more effort there if reach is your goal. If carousels are your save magnets, integrate more of them into your content calendar.
So allocate your creative energy based on the data, not just preference.
Right, based on where the data shows you're getting the best results for your specific goals.
Enhancing calls to action is also critical. You mentioned the funnel.
Definitely. Look at that conversion data: profile visits, website clicks, DMs initiated from stories. Which posts or stories successfully prompted action? Then, refine the language, the placement, the clarity of your CTAs based on what's demonstrably working.
Maybe you need to make your link in bio offer clearer in captions.
Or strengthen the benefit you're promising if they click. Use the data to improve those prompts.
Test and iterate creatively, using insights to guide the experiments. Sounds like an ongoing thing.
It absolutely is. This is a continuous process. Insights isn't just for looking back, it's fuel for experimentation moving forward. Try a new content series, a different story format, a variation in your visual style or caption voice.
But set a hypothesis first.
Ideally, yes. Formulate a hypothesis, like if I add a question at the end of my caption, comments will increase by 10%. Then use Insights to measure the outcome. Did it work? Did it fail? Learn and adjust.
And finally, spot and address drop-off points in that user journey.
Right. Analyze that funnel progression data we talked about. If people are consistently stopping your reels after the first 3 seconds, you need stronger hooks. If they view your stories but never swipe up on your link, maybe you need to strengthen your storytelling leading up to the CTA, or make the offer itself more compelling.
So Insights helps you identify exactly where you're losing people.
So you can make targeted improvements to keep them engaged or guide them to the next step.
The source included that small business success story that really wraps this all together nicely at Bloom Botanicals.
Right, the boutique skincare brand.
Yeah.
They noticed something interesting in their insights. Posts featuring user-generated content, so customer photos, customer tutorials, testimonials, were getting almost double the saves and significantly higher profile visits compared to their more polished brand content.
Interesting. So they listened to the data?
They did. They saw what their audience valued and responded to, so they shifted their content strategy to heavily feature those customer stories and tutorials using that UGC.
And the result?
They were pretty dramatic and measurable. Within about 4 months, they saw a 28% increase in website sales that came directly from Instagram traffic. And they could verify that connection through both Instagram Insights and their website analytics.
Wow. That's a perfect example of how these data-driven insights aren't just interesting, they can directly impact the bottom line.
Absolutely. It connects content performance to business results.
Okay, so if you're listening and feeling ready, maybe a bit overwhelmed, but ready to turn insights into action, what are some concrete steps you can take right away based on everything we've covered from the source?
Okay, practical steps. First, just carve out dedicated time. Seriously, schedule it. Maybe a weekly 30-minute meeting with yourself or your team, if you have one, specifically to review your insights data. Make it a non-negotiable habit.
Good one. Consistency is key.
Then, each month, make it a point to go back and look at your content from that month. Identify your, say, 3 best and 3 worst performing posts based on the key metrics that matter to you: reach, engagement rate, saves, shares, profile visits, whatever your goals are.
And don't just identify them.
No. Analyze why those posts performed the way they did. What were the topics? What was the format, the visual, the caption, the timing? Look for common threads in the winners and, just as importantly, in the ones that didn't land. What can you learn from both?
Next step, experiment.
Yes. Commit to experimenting with one new content type or strategy each month. Maybe try a carousel series if you haven't, or a reel tutorial, or a weekly story Q&A. Use your baseline insights data to measure its success and inform whether you should continue, tweak it, or maybe ditch it.
Okay, and regularly update your content calendar based on this learning.
Exactly. Don't just set it and forget it. Update your plan based on what you learned from insights. Are there seasonal trends in audience activity you need to account for? Did a specific topic perform unexpectedly well and maybe deserves its own series? Adjust your plan dynamically.
And finally, if you're working with others, maybe a team or collaborators,
share the knowledge. Share screenshots, key takeaways, learnings from your insights review. Data helps keep everyone on the same page about what's working, why it's working, and where the strategy should head next.
It makes the strategy more collaborative and objective, right? Less based on just gut feelings.
Precisely. Less guesswork, more informed decisions.
So what does this all mean? At the end of the day, mastering Instagram Insights isn't about getting buried in spreadsheets or endlessly tracking every single number. It feels like it's really about using the data Instagram gives you to truly understand the why behind your audience's behavior.
It really is. It's your most powerful tool for strategic decision-making on the platform. By moving beyond those surface-level vanity metrics, being willing to experiment, and methodically applying what you learn from the deeper insights, well, you empower yourself to create content that genuinely resonates,
Content that gets saved, content that gets shared, content that gets acted upon, and helps you build real connection and community. It's like your compass in the dynamic landscape of social media.
helping you stand out from all the noise.
Yeah, by being deeply audience-focused, using their own behavior as your guide.
Let insights inspire your creativity, guide your experiments, and ultimately elevate your entire content strategy. It's there for you to use.
Okay, here's a final thought for you to consider based on all this. If your current best performing content, maybe the stuff getting the most likes, isn't actually driving profile visits or saves, are you accidentally optimizing for the wrong thing? But maybe more pointedly, what's one assumption you currently hold about your audience or your content that you will specifically challenge and test using insights this week?